Joining us now, our good friend, national champion at BYU, Blaine Fowler, dual threat analyst, and all things superstar. Welcome back to Studio B, Blaine.
Thanks, guys.
I want to start with something that you brought up right when you walked into the studio. We're underestimating Josh Rosen, okay?
Yeah, I know. I came in and I go, guys, you are way downplaying a great player.
You got to direct this conversation to Spencer.
Yeah, I know.
And
here's the thing. Most BYU fans' opinion of Rosen is from the BYU game, which was his worst game last year. And before that, he had played well. He had a little dip. Remember, he's a freshman playing for the first time. But then as the season progressed, he looked more and more and more like a first-round draft pick NFL guy down the line. And he was really, really good down the stretch. So
is he the second best college football quarterback, though?
From a talent perspective, he probably is. He's got a ways to go. Because I don't believe in any true freshmen until they've avoided the sophomore jinx.
That's the thing. He's played one year.
I think he's high. I believe he is one of the great talents. I think he's a future first-round draft pick.
No question. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying now.
So right now they're giving him a top 10 on potential. Can we do that? No. So should he be in the top 100? Yeah, I think he should be.
Absolutely.
So I do agree that he should be down further, but let's not act like he's not good.
Okay.
He's really, really good.
Like, I'm just fired up because Taysom Hill is the forgotten man.
Yeah, well, and if Taysom played last year and he could continue to play at the level that I saw him in fall camp and where we saw, even after the injury when he came back into the Nebraska game, if he plays at that level and stays healthy, he would be in the top 15 this year. So out of sight, out of mind. That's why he's not in there. Nobody knows. Oh, he's back. It's a six. He's got an extra year. Can he play? Is he healthy? All of that. All it takes is for Taysom to have one or two nutso games like we know he can have, and he's immediately back in the national conversation. That's how talented and how big a game changer he is. And so the reason he's not in there is simply because he's out of everybody's mind because he didn't play.
He could be the most BYU guy of all time. What I mean by that is he's going to be 26 when the season starts. I will repeat, 26. That's not playing into any stereotypes at all. But you're right. If he has a big game against Arizona, boom goes the dynamite. People have forgotten about it.
As soon as BYU wins the Pac-12 South in those first 3 games, when we hang that banner in the stadium for the Pac-12 South championship, they're going to be talking about him as a Heisman Trophy candidate again. It doesn't take that long because he's out of sight, out of mind right now, but he's still in the back part of everyone's brain like, oh, yeah, that was that guy that just made Texas look like they were 8-year-olds out there playing
twice.
That's the guy that was the man among boys out there. Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, he's great. And that's all it takes because he has performed at such a high level and he's done so many crazy things that made SportsCenter's top 10 week after week. It only takes a couple of games and he's right back there in the national conversation. So keep the guy healthy. Let him run around. I mean, and it's going to be a little bit more controlled with what they do with him running the football this year. But he's still going to go out, and we're going to watch him make plays where we're all going to go, I did not just see him do that again. When Dave McCann and I were standing right on the goal line at that Texas game, and he hurdled the guy going into the end zone, I just looked at Dave, and Dave looked at me, and we were silent for a minute. I went, no, he did not just do that. And Dave goes, yes, he did.
If BYU goes 3-0, we will hang a Pac-12 South banner in the studio.
Yeah, at least
that will happen.
Can we hang one from there?
Over there or over there.
Pac-12 South champions, please.
Yeah, or on the front, whatever.
Oh, my goodness.
I want to follow up on something you just said. BYU will use Taysom's running ability in a more limited way. What do you mean by that?
I think that he's not going to get double-digit run calls for him this year. So in the offense last year, they literally had some games more than others. You know, we'd have games where Taysom would run the ball 19 times. And maybe 12 of those were called runs.
That's not going to happen.
He's going to have a handful. So I'm saying a handful, 5, 4. Quarterback draws. They're going to run that option to keep people honest, the read option. But it's not going to be a steady part of their run game. And remember, you got Jamal Williams coming back who can be your feature back and carry the load. And so you don't need Taysom to be the primary running back in the offense. You need him to drop back, shred defenses, distribute the ball. And when he's going to make big plays he's dropping back, they overplay something, they forget where he's at, they get out of their rush lanes, and he goes. And he's not going to run 7 yards for a first down. He's going 75 yards to the house. and that's gonna be the #1 play on SportsCenter, and everybody's gonna go, "Oh yeah, we forgot about that.
We
guy.
remember that.
We
guy.
remember that guy."
And I'm tired of hearing people say he's too old to be relevant in college football. Really? Chris Weinke was not too old.
Yeah,
he was 27. Brandon
he
Whedon was
baseball.
27 at Oklahoma State. Like, Taysom's 26, and he's a better athlete than both of those guys.
Oh, not even close.
It's not close.
Not even close.
So don't tell me he's too old to be relevant in college football.
By the way, in his 19 starts, only 2 of those games has he had single-digit carries.
Yeah, and so
like where he ended the game.
I think that his carries will be fewer, but they'll have a big impact because they'll be strategically placed, or they'll be scramble plays where he has to ad-lib and make plays. And so he'll have a major impact on the game, but we're going to see his passing numbers, his completion percentage is going to be much, much higher. His touchdown to interception ratio is going to be lower. That's the nature of this offense. This offense is really going to make him look good. He already is very talented and very good, and this is an offense that will make him, as a passer and as a quarterback, look more accomplished.
Jamal Williams can and will and wants to carry the load for BYU as the feature back. If Taysom's numbers are diminishing in number of carries, and they're going to a more traditional fullback blocking for Jamal Williams, how many carries should we expect, and what kind of numbers should we anticipate from Jamal Williams?
I will be surprised if Jamal doesn't have a 1,000-yard season. You guys were talking about that earlier. In this offense, he's going to be the feature guy if he stays healthy. And I've been watching him run around. You guys, he looks really good.
And he's bigger.
He is big, and he is lean, and he looks quicker than he did. And what I like about Jamal, he's got quickness, but he's not a, hey, I'm going to stand around and dance guy. He makes a move to get upfield. So he plants, makes a move, shakes, and goes. So he makes people miss, but he still runs downhill. Now add the additional weight and the additional muscle, and you see just that little shake to freeze a guy and go by him. I love the way he runs downhill. He runs with a good low pad level. And you know what? I'm watching him this year. I think he's running even a little bit more, less vertical and more with his pads down and all the things I'm watching him in drills. I think that's going to bode well for him. And so he's a guy that the body looks like he can hold up and be a big-time feature back where you give him 20-plus carries every game, and he rushes for well over 1,000 yards this season. And then,
20-plus carries.
Hey, why not a 4,000-yard year out of the quarterback spot? Why not?
Passing the ball.
Ooh.
So combinhave however it shows.
Yeah.
20-plus carries would be a lot. And one question I have for BYU is you have a new coaching staff. Sometimes it just takes time. BYU traditionally in the first game of the year, independent of whether there's a new offense or a new coaching staff, it's just a little slower, right? Last year, BYU had a nice offensive opening game. How quickly do you think it will take for Ty Detmer's offense to kick in, for them to get it to the third or fourth gear?
I think it'll be effective in game one because I think that Ty and this offensive staff are going to bring it along. They're not going to give them too much in that first couple of games. They're going to say, we're going to keep it simple enough that we know exactly what we're doing in this game. And so I think the offense will expand every game as the season goes on. And that's not anything new. Hey, back when I was playing, but hey, because that's a long time ago. Back when I was playing, and we're talking about guys that were calling plays like Norm Chow and Mike Holmgren and you know that caliber. Ted Tollner, who we just had here last week, was so fun to visit with. So great play callers. We would add plays to the offense every week. So we expanded the package every week. And we've been running the same offense for 10 years. And so they'll start simple and they'll grow. And the reason you do that is you can start simple because Arizona has no idea what BYU is going to do. They really don't.
Arizona has no defensive
so it
identity.
can be simple. So now you got stuff on film from that Arizona game, and Utah's like, oh, this is what they're going to do. Not necessarily, because they're going to add a package or two the next week for the Utah game. And then after they win that game, then they're going to add a package or two for the UCLA game. And by the time they win the Pac-12 South, they're going to have a good portion of that offense 4 games in. But they literally will add a little bit of a package every week through 12 weeks of the season and tweak things.
Looking at the schedule in 2016, is there a matchup where BYU is a clear underdog where you're like, I think that is the game that they will win? That will be their best upset win.
So to me, we can't decide what the best upset is until the season's over. So when let's say we look back at the end of 2016.
That's no fun in July.
No. What I'm going to say, I'm going to pick it right now. But I'm going to say the reason I'm going to pick it is because at the end of the year, we're going to look back and go, oh,
that was a great
wow,
win.
That was the best win this season.
Okay.
UCLA. And here's why. Because BYU, I think Utah, I mean, I know who's coming back from Utah. I don't think that should be an upset if BYU beats Utah with who they're losing. And so we were talking before we came on, heck, their best players, Hackett, right?
Punter.
He changed the game. That's the only punter that should have been allowed in the top 100 in the country. Two-time Ray Guy Award.
Devontae Booker was pretty good as well.
Yeah, Booker was great. So they lose Booker, they lose Hackett, they lose Paul, Gianna Paul. They lose both backers, both great NFL caliber backers. They just lose a lot this year. To me, this is a reload year. I don't think that Kyle ever rebuilds at Utah. I think it's a reload year. So I don't think that at the end of the year we're going to go, oh, that was a big upset. I don't think we're going to go, that was a big upset for Arizona, because I think they'll be a little up and down this year. I look at UCLA's schedule. They get Stanford at home. They have SC at home. They have Utah at home. And I'm going, when the season's over, UCLA is going to come out of this thing with almost their entire defense back. They're going to be good with Rosenback. I know they lose Perkins, but by the end of the year, UCLA is going to be competing for a Pac-12 South championship, nationally ranked.
Well, with BYU for the Pac-12.
Right.
South championship.
Well, but once BYU wins it and drops out of the league, then UCLA is going to take over.
Schedule.
I think UCLA's got a great chance to compete with USC to win the Pac-12 South and go to the big Pac-12 championship game. If they're there, and I believe that BYU will beat UCLA at home. So we're going to look back on the season and go, wow, that was a 9 or 10 win UCLA team that BYU beat.
That finished ranked in the top 20.
Yes, and that is going to look
nice.
really, really good for BYU. So to me, if that's the criteria, if we're looking back to say at the end of the year what was the big win, I'm going to pick UCLA as that big win.
All right, Blaine. Fantastic stuff. We could do this for another few hours. But unfortunately, our time has come to an end.
Well, and you got to get Christian on here, and he's my boy. So.
Yes, the quarterback fraternity continues with Christian Stewart up next. Thanks, Blaine.
Good to see you guys.